All right, so we got something new here. I don't know. I'm wondering if I let the hype get to me on this one, but we'll find out. That's kind of the whole point of this video. So, basically a little bit of background here. About, I don't know, 7 months ago, I got the Big Sky MX, and there's a lot of reasons why I was going back and forth on this, which is the MercuryX. I was going back and forth on this and the Big Sky MX, and ultimately I did decide to go with the Big Sky MX. Now there's a couple reasons for that. So the Big Sky MX, one of the things that I liked about it was the simplicity. So obviously there's a lot you can do with it, but everything's kind of right there. And something I was hearing about the Meris is that it was really complicated. Like there's a lot of deep diving. And I think that's what I want, is what I'm realizing now, is like I do want that deeper dive. So yeah, we'll see if I let the hype get to the best of me, or if I'm gonna like this thing or what. But yeah, here it is. It is beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in and get to work. All right, so it's been a week. Been having a lot of fun with the MercuryX. I built some presets. So yeah, let's go ahead and compare them. I have not heard the Big Sky in over a week. So let's go ahead and see what I have been missing. So first we'll start with the MercuryX. This is like my cloud style preset. I use the Prism algorithm. And yeah, let's just hear how that one sounds first. So this preset on the Big Sky, it is a plate and cloud mix. So it's running from a plate into a cloud, so it's a little bit more fancy. Let me show you the reason why I think I'm gonna actually stick with the MercuryX, though, and I'm gonna be selling the Big Sky. So if we go back to this preset here, I called it down now, and there's a couple of reasons for that. So one of them is that I have a compressor after the reverb, and this is just not something you can do on the Big Sky. It's just not a possibility. So the reason I put a compressor after the reverb is so that when I kick on my drive pedals, the reverb will get out of the way. So let's go ahead and listen to that. So hopefully you could see there how the reverb pushes out of the way when I'm playing a very driven sound. And to me, that's really helpful, because while I'm playing, the reverb gets out of the way, and then as soon as I stop playing, it like swells back in a really natural way. So let's check how this would sound without it. So we'll go to the Big Sky, and just so I can show you the benefit that you get from something like that. So. I mean, that sounds really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad about that at all. Just kind of nitpicking here. But yeah, so then the other reason I call this down now is because I have a hold modifier set up on this, and this is, again, simply just not something you can do on the Big Sky. So let's go ahead and check that out. So if I play this chord here, and then if I press the hold modifier, you can hear it goes down. I'm having it go down a whole step, but you can actually choose the interval it's going down. So now I can play like I'm in D standard without tuning to D standard. So yeah, I think that sounds cool. There's a little bit of latency that's added when you do this effect, but it's cool. It's cool that my reverb pedal can do something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So let's check out a plate. So I got a plate loaded up on both these pedals now. And as you can see on the MercuryX, I named this Flint-esque. And the reason is because I had a Flint before I got the Big Sky, and I loved that pedal. And the Big Sky never really got there for me. I think a big part of the Flint that I love is the tremolo. And let's just go ahead and check this out. So here's the MercuryX. So it's a good plate sound. I think it sounds great. But I actually have this hold modifier set up. This is going to be a theme in this video. I've been using a lot of hold modifiers here, so let's check this out. So yeah, you can set up a tremolo, and it not only is it a tremolo, it's a harmonic tremolo, and a good sounding one at that. Again, just something you can't do on the Big Sky. The Big Sky has great sounding reverbs, but you can't do these mod effects. You can't do these crazy hold modifiers and all that kind of stuff. Like, you can't do that on the Big Sky. And I think that's what's drawing me towards the MercuryX. Another cool thing that I didn't really talk about in the last one, but I actually have these knobs set up for two different things. So on this one, so this knob right here is the spread on the tremolo. So if I turn it all the way up, you'll hear it's gonna pan left and right now, which is really cool. And then I have the frequency, which is a low pass filter. This is on the left knob here. This one is modeling like a ladder filter, which is like a Moog synth filter. But I just, I have that so that I can dial back the reverb. It's kind of like a tone knob. There's no tone knob, so like this is something I found that's kind of cool. You can use it like a tone knob. You can hear how dark the reverb is now. It's really a great sounding plate too. Also, with the hold modifier, something I set up on this is that it ramps up and down into the tremolo. So let me play a chord and press. And that's just the kind of stuff you can do that I think is really cool. So let's go ahead and, with that fresh in our minds, listen to the Big Sky. So I had this preset set up much brighter. Let's dial back the tone. Oh, the tone was actually really low. Okay, well, let's go even lower. I don't know. Those are certainly different sounding plates. They're definitely different sounding. I'm sure you could get them to sound closer than I have, but like these are just two presets that I made, not trying to get them to sound close. Like this is just where the pedal led me. So I personally like the MercuryX more for this sound. I think the plate is, it's just a good sounding plate. I don't know. And you could make it brighter if you wanted to get it to sound more like the Big Sky. Like, you for sure could make it brighter. But yeah, for me, I think it's getting me closer to the Flint in some ways. And, like the Big Sky, it sounds great too, but I just I don't know. There's just something about the MercuryX. It just sounds better to me. And also, come on guys, the tremolo, like I really appreciate what Meris has done to be able to do something like that. Like, I feel like the Big Sky MX would be so much cooler if they would have like taken their small box reverbs and essentially put them in the Big Sky. So like, instead of having this infinite switch here, which I mean, I pretty much never use, how cool would it be that it's like you set it on the plate and it's in that infinite switch triggers a modulation that goes with the reverb. So like, for example, if you're on the plate, you have a tremolo, and then you could deep dive and, change it from harmonic to photo or whatever. Like, I don't know. I really think that was a missed opportunity there. I was really, really hoping there would be some stuff like that in there, and there just isn't. And that's okay. I think we'll get into it at the end. The Big Sky is not like no one buy this. Like, no, there's a lot of people that I think the Big Sky is a much better pedal for. But yeah, sorry. I don't want to get too into it. So these are like my swell presets. It's going to be kind of hard to do without my feet. I don't know. Maybe I can do it. Let's see. Definitely very different vibes there I went for when I was making these presets. And yeah, the Big Sky sounds great. It does. I was actually using the Ensemble, which I don't know, guys. I'm gonna be frank here. I was like, one of the big reasons I went for the Big Sky MX was because of the Ensemble. And I think if you're running your reverbs into the front of amps, like your amps are the last thing in your chain, it just doesn't sound that good. I mean, in this set, it sounds great. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's not as usable. And yeah, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed by it. It didn't really do exactly what I wanted it to do, and that, that's okay. But yeah, back to the Meris. Again, I have a hold modifier set up for this, and so for this one, it's actually an auto swell, which yes, you can do on the Big Sky, but you have to use the I think it's like the non-linear, and then you have to go to swell or something like that. But it's not. You can't do it on any algorithm. On the MercuryX, you can do it on every algorithm. So right now I'm on Cathedra for this one, and I think this one just sounded the best to me for swells type big reverbs. But I don't know. I got to play with it some more. But anyways, yeah. So if I press the hold modifier and I strum. It does a little bit of a auto swell for you there. One of my favorite presets I made on the Big Sky is this one called Heaven's Gate, and it's a massive haul. It's 18 seconds, which, side note, I love that you can see how many seconds the reverb is on the Big Sky. Like, there are things I like about the Big Sky more than the MercuryX. Like, don't get me wrong, the Big Sky does things better. Like, I think some of the UI elements on the Big Sky is better. Like, if I twist this mix knob, there's a little like caret, so I can see where it was before in this preset, and I can just go right back to it. Or if I'm like, I want it to be more, like I know it's more. And that's a UI thing that I really wish the Meris had, and it doesn't. And that's fine. Not everything's gonna be exactly the way I want it to be, but yeah. Anyways, let's enough rambling. Let's check out this reverb. So yeah, it's essentially a really big hall that just kind of sits under your plane. And I didn't really recreate it on the Meris. I did something a little bit different, but it's still fun. So I called it Lo-Fi Hall. Again, uses a hold modifier. So we'll check that out in a second, but let me just kind of play first. So something you might have heard in there is I have like a octave below kind of phasing in and out. I can adjust the mix of that with this knob. If I want to just cut it out, it's the left knob. And then the right knob is a more of, it's the tone thing again with the filter. I can, cut highs. And then, yeah, the other thing is this hold modifier. So let me show you that real quick. I mean, how cool is that? It turns into like a lo-fi reverb. And all those settings, like there's pages on pages on pages of things you can change. And you can do that on every reverb. Like you don't have to use the hall to make it like that lo-fi sound. You could use any of them. You could use the plate and make it the sound. You could use the spring. And I think that's really cool. Speaking of spring, let's check those out. So first, let's just check out the MercuryX. I don't know. It's kind of not my favorite spring ever. I'll tell you that much. It's not my favorite spring ever. It is. It's kind of like an ambient spring, I guess is the way I would describe it. There's no drip or anything. It sounds good. I just it's not very springy. Now let's check out the Big Sky, which I'm actually using an impulse response. Like this can't be beat. Check this out. Like that one just sounds so cool to me. I love it. And yeah, that's a whole nother thing. You get impulse responses on the Big Sky, which is really cool for people who want to like dig into that kind of thing. You can't do that on the MercuryX. So again, these aren't the exact same pedal. Like they're quite different, and I think they're for different people. What did I have for the hold modifier on this one? Oh yeah, this is a cool tremolo sound. So you can change like the shape that the tremolo uses. So I think I did a square for this one. And I got same thing, spread. So this is much like my plate that I made. And I think this is the speed for the tremolo. So yeah, both are super fun, super cool. I think the Big Sky sounds more real. The MercuryX is more ambient, I guess, on the spring setting. It's not super realistic sounding, but what is real is this room sound. This one's crazy. I don't know, the Big Sky does not sound as real to me. Let's try the club. I don't know, it's just not doing that same thing. Let's turn the mix up more maybe. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like the MercuryX room. That sounds really good to me. There are some really cool things that you can do with the Big Sky, though. Like, I have this Magneto preset, so let's check this out. So, yeah, man, I think there are some things I'm gonna miss about the Big Sky, for sure. But the MercuryX is just the sound for me. I like, man, I love this preset. Like, I can just have fun with that for days. Oh, I just love that sound. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I've only had it for a week. And I feel like I caught on to the menus pretty quick. It's not that complicated. The Big Sky does have some presets I'm for sure gonna miss. Like, I'm not really like crazy about Cloud like some people are, so I don't think I'm gonna miss Cloud too much. But like I'm not gonna miss the first preset I showed you. I think the Meris does it better, but this Heaven's Gate preset that I showed towards the middle, I think I'm gonna miss this one. It was a fun one, and I don't know that I'm gonna be able to like exactly recreate it on the Meris, but that's okay. I got my lo-fi one. I think that one's cool. It's close. Yeah. And yeah, I think, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just peel this sticker off, because yeah, I'm gonna keep the Meris. So I'll be selling my Big Sky and yeah, keeping the Meris. So Meris stays on the board. But that being said, like, this is not for everyone. I think the Big Sky has its place. I think, you know, people who don't want to menu dive, because honestly, like the Meris, if you're just going to use the knobs that are there, all you've got control over is decay, pre-delay, mod, and mix. You can't even change the algorithm of the reverb without clicking into the menus, right? This knob right here, you can change all the, you can change everything on the Big Sky. You don't even have to go into the menus. You get a couple more parameters when you do, but you don't even have to. Like, it's all right there, and I love that. I do love that. But the MercuryX, I just think, to me, I like the way the reverbs sound better. You've got the compressors, the modulation, the tube saturation, which I didn't even get into. Some of my presets had like tube saturation on them. You've got the LFOs, and you've got the hold modifier, which you can set to do everything instead of just this infinite switch, which I don't really care for. And yeah, I don't know. It's less algorithms, but man, you can do a lot with it. The hall plate, room all sound really good. I love those. Those are, I think, from the Chase Bliss collaboration pedal that Meris did with them. Those all sound so good. Like, oh man, they sound so good. And then like the Meris ones also, the Meris algorithms sound really good. The Spring being probably my least favorite, but it's cool. You know, it's a take on a Spring. I'm not really out here using Spring too much anyways. Definitely think the Strymon does Spring better though. And yeah, the impulse responses, that's a whole nother thing. But you know, the stacking reverb thing on the Strymon, I didn't end up using as much as I thought I would. I don't really need two algorithms going at once, I don't think, for most cases. You know, it's a cool thought. It's a cool thought for sure. But yeah, the Big Sky, honestly, like most of my friends, if they were asking me, hey, which one should I get? Should I get the MercuryX or the Big Sky MX? Which one should I get? Most of them, I'm going to point to the Strymon. you know, especially like just, you know, straight up guitar players, you know, simple pedal board guitar players. Like, yeah, go for the Big Sky. If you're also into like recording and production and synths and all that stuff, like the MercuryX is going to be right up your alley. And I think I should have just originally went with that. But yeah, I'm sticking with the MercuryX. I've made up my mind. So yeah, we'll be selling the Big Sky MX and got to put my board back together. But yeah, I hope this video helped you guys out if you're in between on these two pedals like I was at one point. Yeah, I think if you want a simple workman's pedal, if you're like a session guy, maybe get the Big Sky. The MercuryX is really suited for someone who is willing to dive in a little bit more. But, you know, I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, the MercuryX, you don't even have to deep dive that much. Yeah, I mean, you don't, but like, just get the Big Sky at that point. That's kind of my feeling. I feel like, I don't know, both of them sound great. It's yeah, both of them sound great. They're great pedals. I think yeah, if you're not going to deep dive, just get the Big Sky. If you don't want to scroll through menus, just get the Big Sky. But if you're willing to do it, I think you're gonna really enjoy the MercuryX and you're gonna get some really cool sounds out of it.